Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. We are the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. With me tonight, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Drew Crawley. Drew, how are you, buddy?
Howdy, sir. I'm doing well. It is Monday as of the time we are recording this, so I was back to work today, sadly, and I am ready for this. So It was just one of those days this week.
one of those weeks this day. Yeah. Hey, we've got some wonderful guests with us tonight. We've got the lead singer Megan and the drummer Dylan from the band Barrow, and so we're going to have a wonderful conversation with them. They just released their new album, Jukebox Gypsies, and we'll get to hear a lot about that. We'll get to drink some whiskey with them as well. But before we get into all that, we want to tell you about Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends that make content for the whiskey enthusiast. If you really love your bourbon and you want to know more about how to get in the bottle, the bottle I'm staring at, the bottle I'm pouring my second, third, fourth pour out of, I want to know more about that. Well, Distillers Talk is a show for you. Distillers Talk is hosted by Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. They talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about distillation techniques, use of grains, fermentation, you name it, they cover it. It's a very, very fun show if you're a whiskey nerd. And speaking of whiskey nerds, Alan also does a show called One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, where if you are a distiller, whether you're a professional distiller or an illicit distiller in your backyard, you can send questions to Alan about anything related to distillation, or he'll probably answer you about anything that's not related to distillation too. But he'll post responses to your questions on YouTube and put them on social media so everybody can see. More nerds, My Whiskey Den, our friends Pat, Mike, and Mitch over at My Whiskey Den. They are on every Monday night, live, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Join them. My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king, and it's always a fun time with the folks over there in the chat. And we want to play you one more thing to let you know a little bit more about us.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming out, which do come out every single Wednesday on all of the services: Spotify, Apple Music, Google, maybe Amazon, definitely YouTube. And always hit that like button, but hit it an odd number of times, so then that way it stays as a like.
Thanks, Mike. We appreciate your constant contribution to our show. Is that shtick getting old, Drew? Is that played?
I think it's one of those
much?
Bits that, like, it started funny and then it stopped being funny, and now we've done it so much that it's funny again.
Okay.
On the bit, yeah.
All right. Then I'll keep doing it. But hey, man, we've got enough of this silliness. We've got some wonderful guests with us tonight. We have Megan Kane and Dylan Turner from the band Barrow. And we will get to know them tonight. So first of all, I understand, and I may be wrong, and if I am, you can please correct me, that you guys were recently married. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we got married this past May in the mountains in North Carolina, South Carolina.
Yep. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a beautiful weekend with our family, and right after that, we've hit the road, and we've had, I guess you could call this tour's been an extended honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just tied the knot and seeing where things take us.
Well, that's terrific. Well, what better way to start the show and then to toast your marriage? And so we've got a whiskey thief for you. And this is from Whiskey Thief Distillery, just outside of Frankfort, Kentucky. and those folks are some really good friends of ours. They make some fantastic whiskey. So if you want to take a little pour of that, we can try it. Now, the one of the really interesting things about Whiskey Thief is when you go there, they have and you do their tour. At the end of the tour, they have barrels just laid out in an open space, and they'll give you a glass, and you can go around, and they've got employees that will just thieve whiskey out of the barrel, straight out of the barrel, and put it in your glass. And if you think, hey, I really like that one, then you can thieve your own bottle and take it home with you. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's like sediment down at the bottom of that. And so this is all I've got left of this bottle. So that just means I've got to take a trip to Whiskey Thief. So
absolutely.
But we appreciate you guys sending this over. We're looking forward to tasting.
Yeah. Well, cheers to a long and happy marriage and music career.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right, so Drew, I know you've had some Whiskey Thief in your day.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this one?
I was a big fan of these guys. Comes in really gentle, kind of the alcohol content doesn't hit until towards the back palate. Really nice aroma. It's more on the dark, like baking spices thing, almost like a pie crust and a nutmeggy kind of thing. The palate to me is just screaming like snickerdoodle cookie. It's sugar cookie and then cinnamon right back to back. So I'm tasting the snickerdoodle on this, and I'm a fan.
Yeah,
that's our fat guy tasting note for the night.
Yes, snickerdoodle cookie. Megan, Dylan, any thoughts on this one?
You know, I drink some whiskey. I don't. I usually don't tend to sip on it. I shoot it, but this is really good. I enjoy this. Like Drew was saying, it's not a whole lot right up front, but it still gives you that warm feeling. So it's good. I like this one. I'm a Whiskey Thief fan for sure.
Awesome. Well, if we get you up in this area, we'll have to take you by there and
absolutely
meet the folks and sample some goods.
For
so
sure.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to.
All right, so we'll keep sipping on this while we get to know you guys a little better. Dylan, what's your background? Where are you originally from, and how did you make it to Tennessee?
So I grew up in Southern Maryland, just not too far outside of DC. And I grew up around a lot of live music. My dad, he owned a little coffee shop in our town that had open mics, and that kind of evolved into having bands, and that evolved into kind of renovating it into a music venue. So I got to see a lot of live music at a very young age. I caught the bug, and I haven't been able to get rid of it yet. And after kind of just grinding it out around my hometown and trying to put bands together and just not really feeling the fulfillment I was looking for, I relocated to Nashville just in hopes of finding some new people to play with, and some new friends, and just a change of scene. Little did I know that I would be meeting my wife and my bandmate, as we call it. But yeah, so you know, I grew up listening to a lot of music, seeing a lot of live music. You know, I got to see the Allman Brothers at a young age, the Black Crowes. Yeah, so just I grew up around it, fell in love with it, and just kind of, you know, tried to go where I thought maybe I could find some people that had a similar vision. And, you know, for me, it's always been, I've always wanted to be on the road. I've always wanted to be traveling, playing music. That's kind of like, it's just, I don't know if it's in my blood or what it is, but it's always been something for me. And coming to Tennessee was just a way to try to find people that wanted to go and do that same thing. And luckily here, almost 5 years later, we got a really good group of guys, and we're having a great time out on the road, and we're just having a blast. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Megan, how about you? Are you originally from Tennessee or?
No, so I grew up in a small town south of Birmingham, Alabama. I kind of grew up in a different genre really than Dylan. He was born and raised on rock and roll. His dad is a 70s man who loves Neil Young and Allman Brothers and all that. I grew up very traditional country. My parents, that's all we listened to is old school country. First song I ever learned was Travis Tritt and Loretta Lynn and I mean, I started singing when I was about 10 years old. Sang for the first time at my baptism at church. And then from there, I learned how to play guitar. My dad played when I was young, and he taught me how to strum a few chords. And I kind of locked myself in a room and figured it out all for myself. Started writing songs and performing them out live. I really never thought I would be fronting a rock and roll band. So funny how that works out, but I moved to Nashville right out of high school when I was about 19 years old. Started doing it myself, trying to make it work, and met Dylan, and the rest is really history. It kind of opened up a new door for me to take on another task, and I've always wanted to do music. I told my mom at a very young age, don't even try to put me in college, Mom, because it's not going to work. So very fortunate that our paths crossed for a lot of reasons, but also that we get to do this together on the road. We have I don't know if I'd want it any other way. I love the road life. I love touring. We get to do it with some of our best friends, even all the highs and all the lows. It's kind of all worth it to us. So
even when a trailer breaks down,
even when a trailer
3 hours from home,
yeah.
So how did you guys meet then? And if I'm asking questions that are too personal, you can just kind of say, hey, why don't you drink some whiskey and leave us alone?
There we
go. Actually, it's funny you asked. Cool thing that happened for us this week with the release of our record. There's this showcase in Nashville that's been running for like probably 20 years now. It's called Whiskey Jam. It's like every Monday and Thursday for years. And I guess it was almost 5 years ago. We had a mutual friend that was playing Whiskey Jam, and we happened to run into each other. And about, I don't know, it was like 3 days after that, the singer that I had in my band at the time quit out of the blue, had shows booked, didn't know what to do. And I straight up, I slid in Megan's DMs and begged her to come out and sing with my band. And she, for a guy she didn't know, she hopped in the white van, drove for 10 hours.
My mom wasn't too happy about that.
Hours to some bar in Delaware. And I didn't know any of her songs. She didn't know any of our songs, but we made it work. I'll never forget that first show we did together. She had absolutely no idea she had never played with a band, but man, she went for it full force, did not shy away from it, and quickly took over the stage and stole the show. So that's how we met. And then this week we actually got to play the night our record came out. We got to play Whiskey Jam for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Kind of a full circle moment for us. And it was neat. So
very cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Very cool. All right. So we'll kind of let you get off the deeply personal things that some guy you just met is asking you questions. But to me, a lot of the personal stuff kind of gives you insight into some of the songs, and there are some things that you've already said that I think about what's on your album. I think, okay, I get that. The Back to Birmingham, I get that. So we'll start winding down side A and get ready to flip over to side B of the show. But we want to give you guys a chance to make sure everybody knows what's going on with your band and where they can find you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Kevin was nice enough to make this awesome graphic that shows some of our tour dates coming up. This is what we got for the rest of August, and some of the pictures from our album artwork and stuff. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We have our website there that Kevin has put up, and anywhere you can listen to music. If you guys do want to listen to the record and you hear it and you like it, you want to send us a message, we'll respond on Instagram, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of what we got going on. We're touring heavy right now, through the summer, probably through the rest of the fall.
We have a new music video that's out.
New music video.
First ever music video that we released, directed by
Keith Lehman. Yep.
And the Forward Post crew. Yeah. We'd love to work with them on it. We also have another music video coming out here pretty soon for another one that's on the record. Also directed by Keith Lehman. And we are really just trying to push this record as far as it can go. Very excited about having the tracks finally out into the world. We've been holding on to them for quite a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. You guys were incredibly responsive when I first reached out. And honestly, one of the things that I do from time to time, and my wife may say too often, is I'll sit on our deck and in the evening and I'll play music and I'll sip on some whiskey and I'll try to find bands. Sometimes I'll listen to stuff that I've listened to forever, Skinner or Allman Brothers or whatever. But I'll also try to find music that I don't know yet. And I came across you guys, and at that point, there were you had some earlier music out, and you had 2 singles out from the album that's just now been released. And so I listened to you guys and went, well, this is fantastic. And then quickly shared the link and sent it to Drew and said, hey, what do you think of these guys? This is awesome. And okay, so the first thing I thought was that Megan, you were Parker Barrow. Okay.
I get that a lot.
And then I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. That sounds very familiar. What is, oh yeah. So how did you come to name your band after Bonnie and Clyde?
It's funny. Not a lot of people make the connection. We do get a lot of either
Hi Parker.
Hi Parker, Parker Goose Barrow, or whatever it might be. But when we first started touring, it was under a different band name, and it was while we were writing music, and we were still doing mostly cover stuff. And when we wanted to kind of transition to being more of an original band, we wanted something fresh and something that connected us. And we kind of just thought about, her and I, during that time, we were living out of a 32-foot motorhome, the 2 of us and our dog, and touring out of it, living out of it, constantly on the go, one place to another. And it was like, man, we're always on the run, and instead of being on the run from something like the law, like Bonnie and Clyde, where, we're on the run to something, we're on the run to a dream, and we're chasing this thing. And I think the thing that makes Bonnie and Clyde such a unique story, and there's been so many of these outlaws and these villains over time, but the reason that they're so iconic is everything they did together. And it's just like romanticized love story with these like ruthless people, you know what I mean? And it's I don't know, we just thought about it and we twisted it in our mind in a way that we thought it was cool. And Megan had some really cool like graphic ideas for the name, and it's kind of grown since then. But it's just, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say it's an ode to the Outlaws, but it's more so just a connection, I guess, that we felt we had in some weird way. And we also think it's cool to have a band name that makes people think a little bit. So Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I wanted to ask about the recording process. You said you've been sitting on the material for quite some time. So walk us through, from the first time you said, okay, I think this is a song that we need to put down to, realizing the vision, the recording process, the editing. Give us the whole backstory on this record, if you don't mind.
So it's kind of crazy how this record happened for us. Back to Birmingham which is track 3 on the record. It was actually the first song Dylan and I ever wrote together. And that was 3 weeks into us ever meeting. It has been sitting on a shelf for a very long time. It didn't make the original EP. So I guess you can say it is nearly 5 years in the making. After we released our first EP, we kind of were like, we toured it. We took us a minute to get back into finding our bearings again, and
we released that first EP during COVID, and so there were some struggles there, and when we finally got back around to starting to write new music, we were lucky enough to we're playing a show in Eastern Shore of Maryland somewhere, a little acoustic thing, and the band that was going on after us, the guitar player in the band came up to us and he's like, "Hey, I have a studio. I think you guys are great. Would love to work with you." And when you're on the road and you're traveling, you hear that kind of stuff a lot. So you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. But luckily for us in this case, he was legit. And it's Stephen McKnight. He's our producer. He produced this record for us. And he's got a great studio in New Jersey, Thermal Production Studio. And we were lucky enough to go up there. We made trips.
We were working full-time jobs.
Yeah, we were at the time working full-time jobs, getting through COVID, and just took a long time to get those 10 songs out, doing maybe 2 days a week here, 2 days a week there.
Sounds familiar.
Does that sound familiar, Drew?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys get it. But, yeah, I mean, it was a blessing and a curse for it to take as long as it did, because with it, we got to learn a lot about ourselves and learn a lot about the songs. And I think they took on a new light as we went down the line and creating them. And it was an amazing process. Such a treat for us to get to record in such a great studio and have it be so personal. A lot of times it was just the two of us and Steven there collaborating and just having a blast making music, and something we'll cherish for a long time. And we're certainly super happy with how the record's turned out, and we just hope that people will like it as much as we do.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if they're paying attention, I'd say they would. It's a fantastic record. Yeah. Just nerdy questions, music nerd questions. So are you guys lyrics first typically? Are you melody first typically, a progression, or some amalgamation of all three?
Mostly, honestly, Dylan's the lyricist. He kind of will write something down. It could be us driving, there a lot of the songs were written when he was in Maryland and I was in Alabama for holidays or other times that we spent apart.
We've had a unique thing where the first 4 years we knew each other, the only 4 or 5 days we'd spend apart were like Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Sure.
Your family and I'd see my family. And I don't really think a lot of people have like, this is how we write a song. I don't really think it's not really a set in stone process. I think a lot of times the way I feel about it, songs kind of come to us. We both are of faith, and we feel, when we feel compelled and feel like something is put in front of us to create, we jump on it and we just, however it happens is how it happens. We don't put a lot of pressure on it. We kind of just, trust in God that, if this is what we're supposed to be doing, he's going to give us the songs we need to do it. Give us the support around us to make them. And that's kind of how it's been for us.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing. Just for fun one for me, between the two of you, how many song ideas in some form or another are in your voice memos app?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Too many that are probably will never be heard by anyone but us.
Yeah, I get it.
They normally happen around like 3 a.m. after a long weekend, and we're just sitting around and just throwing stuff out.
Yep.
Not a lot of good stuff happens after that.
I know. No, I get it. I'm like, literally, if I were to be held up, take my wallet, take my card, take my watch, take it all, leave my voice memo app. That's all I really care about. So I'm just curious about that. And then what's your collaborative process? Obviously, you guys are kind of a core duo, and you're doing a lot of the writing and song, formation yourselves. At what point do you bring in other musicians? Is it a completed product at that point? You're bringing in players? Or is there a collaborative aspect to the rest of the band as well when it comes to parts and ideas?
This record, the one that's out now, these were all songs that Megan and I wrote and got to at least like a work tape type stage where we had lyrics, melody, all of that. And with this one, Steven, our producer, he was kind of our other collaborator on this. He wrote a lot of the music. He played a lot of the guitar parts on the record, and kind of took the way I kind of explain it in my head, at least, is like, I'm able to kind of make a sketch of a song, and Steven's able to kind of take that sketch and color it in, and then when Megan sings on top of that, it kind of, to me, it brings that picture to life and makes it a new breathing, living piece of art or whatever you want to call it. But this next time around, we've been lucky enough to have a couple of great guitar players and some really talented musicians that have joined this band in this year, and we're really looking forward to collaborating with them and seeing what the next one will be. It's weird, like Megan said, we've been sitting on this music for a long time, and now it's out, and it's like, all right, let's make a new one. It's we don't really have like this is how we do it. We try to just let it happen, let it breathe, and whatever it becomes is what it becomes. So
awesome.
Very great.
Well, we have some standard questions we like to ask everybody, but just because I'm curious about this, and you just came off what sounded like kind of a harrowing road experience, do you have a high and a low from touring in the last couple of years?
Oh gosh,
just because these are always so fun.
Start with the lows.
Yeah, what do you want first? The low
or high?
Yeah, let's get the bad news out.
On a high note.
End on a high note, yes.
We have pretty aggressively toured for the past 4 years, spending maybe a couple days at home a month. We put about 1,400 miles on the van every weekend. In the early days, we were touring. We went from a van to an RV, and in the RV, we lived in the RV. It was me, Dill, and our road dog Sadie.
Awesome.
And we geared up. It was we released the Don't Tell Mama EP. Geared up, getting ready to go to
we were going back to Nashville. We were going back to Nashville. Yeah.
And we had done all the maintenance on the RV.
Had fixed everything. We saved a bunch of money doing it kind of cheap, and we were, just so excited to really get back out on the road. Get about 5 hours in,
and we started hearing this noise. And it's just the road. The road's really, really bumpy right now.
Turn the radio up. Turn the radio up.
It's fun. Then the noise gets a little bit louder. RV just stops in the middle of the road. We get out, and our dually tires are just sideways, just crooked on the RV.
One of our tires, the lugs completely snapped off, and we were maybe like a rotation away from that thing flying off, and who knows what would have happened. But now we're stuck. We're stranded on the on the side of the road, and there's actually a video on our YouTube that
recaps this whole thing.
But we got stranded in this little town in Virginia called Buchanan, Virginia, for 5 days.
I've been there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Not
Been
much,
through there.
right?
Yeah. Not much.
There's a subway, and that's about it. The subway and the pro shop that we were at for 5 days, and
no service.
No service. It was cold.
Very cold.
It was a long 5 days.
Yeah.
We finally got the parts. They put them on, and we go to pay the bill, and all the money that we saved by trying to do things our own and completely out the window. So we're already starting to soar off in the negative, and it was just like it was a rough 5 days to battle through, and the mental part of it, just kind of being stuck, was maybe the hardest. But
that's torture.
It's all good now. You know what I mean?
We actually stopped there on our way back.
We stopped there on our way back.
We did. It's actually the namesake of our new van.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did that to the van, but
I will say this: any of the lows that we've been through, when we look back, they're some of our favorite stories. We can laugh about them now, and we know they happen for a reason, and they've brought us closer together. Yeah. They've made us stronger. There's some songs that have come that have been inspired by it. Yeah. So the highs and the lows, all of them, we're thankful for all of it. It's all part of the process, and we're just thankful to get to keep doing this.
And probably the high, honestly, it was probably this Saturday. We released the record. We're a new band, and a lot of people don't know us, and we've been working at this for a while now, and to have these songs that we have put out and have worked really, really hard on, and I've listened to a million times on whatever, like on iCloud or whatever we were able to listen to them on and have them out, finally getting that feedback from a crowd singing our songs, excited for our songs, getting to do it with all of our friends, and with our families there. It was very, very special. It was honestly, it was definitely the highlight of everything to date, to be honest. And we're very thankful that anyone that listens to our music to spend time to come out and listen to them live. Like that's what every musician dreams of. That's why we do it. So getting to see that come to fruition live at a show, which is that's what we love to do. We love to play music live. Like recording, we love it. It was amazing. We were glad the songs were out there so people can listen to them, not at a show, but definitely come to a show. That's what we thrive on. So
awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's take a drink of our second whiskey tonight. We've got some Larceny Barrel Proof. And so I kind of went with the whole, thief, robber theme, with the Bonnie and Clyde thing. So we had Whiskey Thief that we started with, and now we're moving on to Larceny. But this is, when did they come out with the barrel proof edition of this? Maybe 4 years ago?
Yeah, about 4 years, about the same time that they made the Elijah Craig readily available at Barrel Proof, maybe a year or two after that. Yeah.
So cheers. We have a little sip of this.
Cheers.
Now this Larceny is a wheated bourbon, meaning that the second grain is wheat instead of rye. Bourbons are usually wheat or rye, but they can be really about any kind of grain. But this one is a wheated, what's called a wheated bourbon, and it's at Barrel Proof, which is 123.2. So
I have no idea what that actually means.
I don't either.
Sure. Okay. Which part?
The proof.
The proof.
The proof. Okay. It is the alcohol content. So
mean it makes you sweat more because I took that one on.
Well,
it can.
Yes, there is on the bottle, any bottle of whiskey, there is something that'll be ABV, which is alcohol by volume.
Okay.
And then whatever that number is, say, like in this case, it's 61.6% alcohol. That number is then doubled, and that's what's called the proof.
The proof.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. That's a very good question. And so this is a relatively high proof bourbon.
Yeah.
So sip carefully.
Yeah.
But Drew, any thoughts on the Larceny Barrel Proof?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I generally steer clear from the Larceny line. Just if I'm out shopping and I have $90 to spend on a bottle, which is rare these days, I will go for the Elijah Craig if I'm reaching for something in this category. Just because I tend to prefer rye to wheat, just in general. But this one's nice. It doesn't drink quite as hot as the proof may, kind of suggest. But I'm getting like a black tea and a honey kind of note on the back end. So I would try this as is, of course, but maybe zhuzh it up in like a hot toddy type situation in the fall.
Speaking my language,
I could see this one being real cozy. So
so if you're and Drew, you're a vocalist as well, and so would this be something that after a weekend of playing gigs and singing for 3 hours straight each night, is this something that you would say, hey, let's put this in a hot toddy and kind of help the throat a little?
I try and stay clear of drinking whenever I'm singing, but it would the cool down, or the warm down. I guess with this thing, I put in a hot toddy.
I ain't mad at it. What did you guys think?
It's good. I think I do like the Whiskey Thief a little better. This one was a little bit sweeter to me, I think. They're both good. I'm gonna definitely enjoy finishing these before we hit the road this week. Yeah, it's good. This one I think is a little sweeter, and it's good. I don't know. I feel like it could grow on me.
I'll say that. I drink Jack Daniels, so I have a hard. I don't really know the difference, but
that's all right.
It does.
It's all right.
It tastes.
You like it?
Yeah. Hey, the point is drink what you like.
Yeah.
But be willing to try different things. It's like music. It's like music. Listen to what you like, but be willing to listen to other things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm very glad y'all asked us to do this because it is making us branch out. And this Whiskey Thief for sure, I would buy this one again. So we really appreciate you guys letting us branch out a little bit here.
So let's kind of step in the time machine and go back a little bit. And Dylan, do you remember the first concert that you ever went to? You grew up in a musical home. Yeah,
it's tough because I saw a lot of shows as a kid, local artists and stuff like that. My first concert was probably the Allman Brothers. So not a bad one.
No, it's a pretty good start.
That's pretty awesome.
I've seen some good ones. I think the Allman Brothers was my first one. It was I was maybe 8 or 9. They came to Calvert Marine Museum in Calvert County, is close to where I grew up, and they lit in. I forget. I feel like they lit into Jessica, and the sky opened up, and it stormed, and everybody left except for the Allman Brothers. They kept playing, and it became this kind of personal, intimate kind of concert, and it was neat. It was a good one for sure.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
How about you, Megan?
So, again, I grew up in kind of a different world, but my first concert was Kelly Clarkson.
All right.
One thing about it is I was 8 years old, and she held a competition outside of her concert to sing her songs for a better seat. And I went and I sang, I think it was Since You've Been Gone. It was Since You've Been Gone. And I moved my family up to row 8. So I got to place. As an 8-year-old, that was the best thing I've ever done in my whole life. But that was my first concert. Concert.
That's pretty cool.
It wasn't the Allman Brothers, but what can you do?
That is two ends of the spectrum, and that's wild. What about a first album? Megan, was your first album Kelly Clarkson also? Or?
No, my first album. This is another opposite end of the spectrum, but it was Eminem Relapse.
Wow. The spectrum is wild.
Yeah, I really did. I grew up like my mom was an 80s girl. Like she liked pop music and she liked all of that. And my dad was like true country. So that was what I listened to. Yeah. And then I met Dylan and literally my whole world changed.
She heard Susan Tedeschi sing.
And I was like, all right. This makes more sense to me than everything else.
That does it for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
How about you, Dylan? You remember your first album?
You know, I listen to music differently than a lot of people do, I think.
Yep.
I grew up watching my dad's band play a lot. So I kind of just, when I started listening to music, I listened to the songs that they played.
Yeah.
I really, even to this day, have not spent a whole lot of time sitting down and listening to a whole record. It's something that I wish I would have done more, because I love hearing people discuss records, and I wish that I kind of had a little bit more insight or an opinion that matters. But I mean, I like to try to listen to a little bit of everything. If I had to pick a favorite record, Hotel California is up there for me, honestly. You remember listening to that one and my dad, with my dad as a kid at a real young age, but I don't know.
For me, like favorite the album that changed my direction and view of music was Early Morning Shakes by Whiskey Myers. That full record.
It's a great record.
Nice.
Listening to that, I just viewed music differently after it. And I still listen to it probably more than any other record out there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. They are on my bucket list. I feel like I have missed them by a day or two every time. Or if it's a festival gig, we're like there the day after. Yeah. So that's on the bucket list for me.
You gotta see them. They are incredible.
We saw them their first show back after COVID. It was like a makeup date they were doing. So it was like kind of a smaller venue than what they're doing now. And we got to sit front row, and it was neat. I remember like 2 songs in watching Cody Cannon kind of look at the rest of the band, and he kind of did the reason was like just like riding a bike, because they had not played a show in almost 2 years, and they just got up and crushed it. So, great band, great energy. Those 2 guitars in that band, like I'll be honest, we model a lot of what we do after them with the, there's a lot of bands, Allman Brothers, Skinner, a lot of bands that do the 2 guitar thing, but we're huge fans of them. Great band. If you do get a chance to see them, definitely you will not be disappointed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So Dylan, we haven't said this yet, but you're the drummer for the band.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yes. So we've talked with couples before that are in bands, and it's usually a vocalist and a guitarist, but we have a vocalist and a drummer, so that's a little different, and that's very cool. And you're the lyricist for the band, kind of like Neil Peart was for the Rush, and so that's always a good thing too. So who inspired you as a drummer? What inspired you to play the drums, to pick that up the first time, and are there drummers in certain bands that you're like, I really like the way that guy plays, or so I'm going to go down that path?
The number one, and this is probably going to be for 80 or 90% of drummers you ask, John Bonham. He is he's the king. Just there's something different about the way the drums sounded when he played them, and the way his drums sounded, and it's just absolutely incredible. If you listen to his like isolated drum tracks, listening to some of the melodies that he was playing on drums, like I never, even to this day, my mind doesn't go there, and I don't know if his mind did or if that's just what came out, but it's absolutely inspiring and beautiful the way that Bonham did it. And just power. That's, I think that's kind of what has drawn me to the drums. I'm a loud person. I like to make noise, and just the power of that kick drum. Sitting in a big room through the PA, and you hit that, and you feel that whole room shake. I just love it.
We often compare him to Animal from Sesame Street.
Yeah, I did that quite a bit. Yeah.
That's who he is.
That's a pretty good comparison.
I'll take it. Honestly, I'll take it. But it's I don't have to think about it when I play the drums the way I have to think about playing the guitar or anything else. It's just I think it's just kind of what came natural to me, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Megan, who would you say are some influences for you as a vocalist? You mentioned Susan Tedeschi, and she's God tier, but
who else? It is. Honestly, it is. It's Susan Tedeschi. The way when I grew up singing, I grew up trying to be a lot of different singers. I mean, you can only rely on your influences and what's around you and what you're hearing and trying to emulate it in the best way you can. It wasn't really until I heard Susan sing that I realized maybe I don't have to be perfect. Like I feel like, I mean, even though she is, but her voice has so much character in it. It has so much authenticity in it that, like, if she cracks or if something happens, it sounds true to her. And I feel like listening to her and listening to Tedeschi Trucks and their live records, everything, it's a very unique style of singing, and hearing her makes me feel better about the way I sing. I'm not a pretty singer. I don't sing like a lot of other singers. I can't do a lot of the tricks and a lot of the stuff and the flashy things, but I try and sing the way that feels right to me and try and have it come across the way I feel it.
Yeah.
So I would say
that's awesome.
I don't really know if there's anyone that compares to Susan.
No.
So it has to be her.
Yeah. Well, I hope this comes across as a compliment, and I'm pretty sure there's text receipts on this, but when Kevin sent me y'all's record, I was like, okay, there's like a Faith Hill meets Bonnie Raitt meets Susan Tedeschi thing going on. So I hope those are all compliments.
It does.
The Bonnie Raitt thing jumped out to me amazing. And just like you were talking about the character and kind of the, I don't want to say gruffness, but like the rawness in it, where you can tell that it's coming just like from the depths of you when you sing is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talk about music the same way we talk about whiskey. We're always like throwing things out there. Yeah. So when we're making comparisons, it's as kind of like a frame of reference.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's not meant to be anything, anything other than, you being great. But
I mean, if I'm anything like Faith Hill, Bonnie Raitt, or Susan Tedeschi, I'll take them all.
Not bad company to me.
No, not bad.
Yeah, I actually, and I don't remember which of your songs it was, but I was listening to the album a few times this weekend, and there was one song that I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of Dolly in that, and I'll have to listen again if I can figure out which.
She definitely has the country drawl that comes through.
Yeah.
If there's anything country about our music, it's the drawl. But
but it to me it kind of allows you guys to defy a genre.
Yeah, we don't really put a label on it other than when they tell us we have to.
Yeah.
It just kind of is what it is. If we just, like I said earlier, just hope people like it.
Yeah.
And if not, that's okay too. We're gonna keep making it. We like it. So but yeah, no, we don't like to really put a label on it or call it this or call it that, because we just want people to hear it for what they think it is and enjoy it the way they want to enjoy it. So
Yeah, because it does. There is some country feel to it. There's definitely some blues feel to it. There's some rock and roll to it. It encompasses a lot, and it does a lot really, really well. And so I'm very excited about what you guys have going on. So let's talk a little bit about the album.
Yeah.
There it is. And so the name the name of the album is Jukebox Gypsies. And so where did you come up with that song or that album title?
That was actually, so we wrote that song with a friend of ours named Kyle James. And this was another song that was written quite a while ago. And it's, you know, anyways, we were writing with him, and, you know, we getting going, and I don't even remember how it came up, but one of the lines in the song Peace, Love, Rock and Rollin'. Everything I own's rolling down this highway with me, town to town, like a couple of jukebox gypsies. And we never intended on calling the record that. It was actually our producer, when we got done with that song, he was like, man, Jukebox Gypsies, that would be a cool album name. And I was like, we should change our band name to Jukebox Gypsies. I was all in, but no. So yeah, it was. It kind of just grew on us over time, and sounded cool, and kind of encapsulates what we were doing.
What we were doing, who we are as people. We are in modern form, jukebox, a little bit of gypsies. We kind of roughed it a little bit, and we felt like it was very true to what we were doing with the record.
So let's talk about a few of the songs, and well, let's start with Peace, Love, and Rock and Rollin', which is the opening track. Okay, Drew, you were in the recording studio a while back, and I was there, kind of taking up space and getting in the way.
But you brought us good whiskey. You were perfectly welcome, sir.
But one of the things that you were looking for in one of your songs was a Tom's intro. And I found it about 3 months too late. In Peace, Love, and Rock and Rollin'. That's a great awesome drum intro to that song. I love it.
It just falls over itself. Like, it drives, but it doesn't feel like you're in like this rush. You're perfectly in the pocket there, Dylan. This is great.
It kind of has a Black Crowes feel to me.
We'll take that all day.
I really, I think it's a great opening track, and just really starts the album off on a strong note, and then it goes to Count Your Dollars, which the video for that is fantastic in itself. I'm not sure which one of you actually ended up being the devil, but it may have been both. But
I don't
know. But there's a little bit of the Wanton song by Led Zeppelin in that. I think I get that feel.
Yeah. So that one, I came in to the studio with just the lyrics. I had no melody, nothing, and this was the last song we recorded for the record, was Count Your Dollars. And the day before that session, our producer was like, I had this riff come to me in a dream kind of thing. Like, he woke up in the middle of the night and recorded it, and he put it out there, and I was like, well, I have these words, I don't really have a melody. And he kind of looked at it, and the way his mind works on music it's honestly like amazing to watch how quickly he can process things and spit out something that's amazing. So he took those lyrics, and he kind of real quickly, in about 5 minutes, found a melody that was cool. And that was it. So yeah, on the music side of that, I'm not sure exactly where his influence came from, other than, waking up at the middle of the night and 3 o'clock to record something. But I think I love the riff. I love the track. I'm one of our favorites, just because of the way it came together like that. Just very, very organic. It literally happened in the studio. So
that's very cool. That's very cool. And then back to Birmingham, that, as we've learned tonight, has some autobiographical tones to it. Tell us about that song, because it's a beautiful ballad.
Thank you. So, like I said, that was the first song that Dylan and I ever wrote together. I was, I moved to Nashville with this idea of wanting to pursue music, and like everyone does. And I feel like, I never really knew exactly what that meant for me. I kind of played acoustic songs every now and then at a local place downtown. Then I'd go back home to Birmingham and play there. And when I met Dylan, I started traveling a lot more. Nashville's 3.5 hours from my house. Maryland's not. Neither is Delaware. Neither is anything north of there. So I went from being just a driving distance away from home to being out on the road for months at a time, not really getting to go home, not really getting to see my family. And my family, just like we're big family people. It was tough. It was tough to figure out at 20 years old and having to experience that and understand that, this is the sacrifice you got to take. And, it was hard on my parents too, and hard on my niece was born. When it's funny, when we wrote that song, Dylan's niece was 3 years old and my niece had just been born. And now we released it. Dylan's niece turned 8 today.
Yeah. Birthday, Ellie.
And my niece is 5 and starting preschool. So it's very crazy how everything has happened with that song. It really does. The song is as true as it gets. 4 wheels fall off. We lost 2 of them.
Yeah. I also do have to say this too. At the time, we probably wrote that song about 5 years ago. Yeah. So 5. I guess my grandmother would have been. She's 83, or I'm sorry, 93 now. Yeah. So wow, she's still getting older every day. But yeah. Yeah. So hi to Meemaw too. I had to do that.
But yeah, it's a song that I felt like was meant for this record. I'm glad we waited on it. I'm glad that we worked with Steven on it. It is one that deserved the time to sit in the background for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that people take some time to listen to that one, because that's the life we live. It really is.
Yeah. Great tune.
Thank you.
What others on the album, and this is like, okay, which of your children is your favorite? What others on the album are especially special to you?
I think there's a few. One that I feel like because we always building up to the record, it was like what songs are going to get listened to the most, and we debated this song has this and this has this, and there's a lot of stories about the songs that aren't really told. One that I think that is a outlier and could be, and for people to listen to, it's one of my favorites to play live, is Partners in Crime. That song was actually based from a Bonnie Parker poem. She was a poet. She wrote while she was locked up, and she had a poem called Suicide Sal that we drew from and built that song off of. So that one's really cool with the backstory of. And then obviously Where the Bluebird Goes is another one that means a lot to us.
Yeah, that I think Where the Bluebird Goes is maybe my favorite of yours vocally on the album.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And a surprise cover, you do Sunshine of Your Love. So I've got the question I've got to ask Dylan is do you play the drums stylistically like Ginger Baker? I mean, you have a cape and an ascot on. And
I love Ginger Baker. I love Ginger Baker. I'm not exactly sure what he was doing on Sunshine of Your Love with
LSD is what he was doing.
But we did kind of pay homage to him in that third verse. It goes back, the drums go back to that classic Ginger Baker snare on 1 and 3 instead of 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, I thought that was a cool little thing to throw in there just to kind of, Cream, 3-piece band. So, some of my favorite music that's ever been released you know, Jack Bruce, Ginger Baker, Eric Clapton, those 3 guys, like, it's amazing. It's, to me, that whole era of music and how those guys just kind of bounced around and formed these super groups, you know, Cream or Blind Faith, Stevie Winwood. You know, there's so many of those just like super groups that popped up and released this music and then we're just gone, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that was a, you know, we kind of stumbled on that one as the cover. We knew we wanted to do one, and I'm super glad that we fell on that one. Steven absolutely crushed the guitar track on it. The solo on there is like, it's still, I laugh every time I listen to it because I'm just like, how do you do that? But no, yeah, it's a great song. Those guys, that was a great band, and we just hope that, you know, we can do it justice and, you know, maybe just add to the history of that amazing song.
Yeah. Now, I saw some videos posted on Instagram from over the weekend. Looks like there's some other covers that you do live as well. So tell us a little about what else you work into the show other than your own music.
So we do, I mean, we, you know, with the whole what genre are we or any of those questions, we love rock and roll music. We love all of it. We have amazing guitar players that really do all of it justice. Manning Feldner, he plays the gold top, but he's our Allman Brothers boy. He's just nasty Dwayne Allman.
Sly, he plays Sly,
like all of it. And Alex Bender, who is our other guitar player.
He's our Jimmy Page.
And so we do play a lot of homage to the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin in our show, which we cover Black Dog, we cover Whip and Post.
We do Southbound by Allman Brothers as well. We do Twice as Hard. Not Megan Kane's favorite, but
sometimes.
Love that song.
Yeah.
That song is so dadgum high.
It is.
It's so high. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. The Black Crowes are one of Kevin and I both of our favorite groups.
That is still his favorite band.
Absolutely my favorite band of all time. So.
Well, see, I didn't say it earlier because I didn't, you know, you kind of centered on John Bonham, but I get a little bit of Steve Gorman in how you play.
I'll take that any day, man.
And the two that popped in my mind when I listened to you play were Steve, who's a friend of the show, has been on a couple times.
Are you kidding me? That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've got 4 episodes with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's cool.
Well, that's long. If you want to go back and watch some old episodes,
absolutely, I'm gonna dive in for sure.
Then you can hear the bizarre connection there. But
that's awesome.
Steve and Stan Lynch of the Heartbreakers.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, you are driving the train, and then you'll come in with these amazing fills that are just kind of they're not obnoxious, but they're really, really well done, and it fits in musically with everything that's going on, and it doesn't distract from what everybody else is doing, and I think that's a sign of an excellent drummer. But,
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So anyway, so you got some shows coming up this week and next week, right?
Week after that and the week after
that.
Yeah. So
we haven't released our fall dates yet, but they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't end in August.
Well, the burning question is do you have plans to come to Louisville?
Man, we played Louisville in January. We opened for a buddy of ours named Tanner Usry. Which, if you guys don't know him, definitely check his music out.
He's great.
So we played Zanzibar. Are you guys?
Oh yeah.
So we did Zanzibar there as an opening act. Love the place. It seems like an awesome venue. Seems like there's a lot of cool spots in Louisville. It's definitely it's good routing from us coming from Louisville.
We just played Covington.
We did do
Kentucky this past weekend.
Covington this past weekend.
Not too far.
But yeah, Louisville would be. We don't have anything on the books right now, but would definitely love to do it. Yeah, it seems like a great town. We actually stopped in Louisville for a day, coming back from Cincinnati a couple of months ago, and really enjoyed our time there. So we're going to make it happen sooner or later.
Well, when you do, you've got an appointment with us to at least grab a drink somewhere and meet in person.
Definitely.
But we'll definitely be watching for your tour schedule, and like I told you pre-show, we'll when you come on our show, it's Hotel California. You can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. We've adopted you now, and in all sincerity, I love the album, love the sound, and you guys are so lovable. I mean, you're awesome.
Good people.
Yeah, I mean, smiles the whole time, and newlyweds still. This is fantastic because it's right up my alley. But we'll kind of wrap things up. We've kept you guys for a little over an hour now, and we want to be very considerate of you guys and your time. But we definitely want to have you back on sometime as well.
We'd love to. This was such a great time.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping things up, we want to give you guys a chance to tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can keep up with what you're doing.
Sure. We're anywhere you guys listen to music, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, even like the weird, crazy ones that I don't even know the names of. But we click them on the click them on the thing.
Anywhere you can find anything.
Amazon, anything. Wherever you guys listen to music, you can find it. Our website.
YouTube, you can watch the videos.
YouTube is one. Our website is weareparkerbarrow.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram,
Apple Music, iTunes, all of it.
All of it. So
also we have the third member of the band to introduce as well.
Oh yeah.
Is Sadie here?
Come here, Sadie.
Come here, baby. She's back from the road, but she always makes an appearance anytime she can.
Come on.
Come here, girl. Come here. She's been sitting side stage this whole time.
Oh, that's good.
Come on. Say hello.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Say hello.
Yeah,
you can see her.
Pretty.
She's on the album cover too.
She is.
Yep,
yes.
So. But,
right. Yep.
There she is.
Yep.
Up in the wagon.
But she's a little tired from this past weekend.
Yeah. She's been really good the whole show. I mean,
she sleeps on Mondays.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody be sure to check out Parker Barrow. I would not lead you wrong on music. Hopefully
or bourbon for that.
Or bourbon.
We can attest
or bourbon, yes. But Drew and I have both been listening to this group for really just a couple of weeks now. But man, the tunes are so catchy and well done. It's a fantastic album. Highly recommend it. So be sure to check that out. Drew, where can people find you?
Yep. I am on Instagram at drew.crawley63. That's kind of the thing I keep up with the most actively. So check that out. And then the website is drewcrawleymusic.com. That'll have all of the dates up through September, and then hope to put out some more in October, November once we finalize those. And then if you would keep an album in your radar. Album, the plan is for November. Hope to beat the Christmas music to the market here a little bit, but putting it out in November and then hopefully hit the road pretty hard after the new year. So
congratulations on the new music, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
As for our show, you can watch us on YouTube and get to see these our lovely new friends. If you want to just listen to the show, you're driving to work, great. Slap on the podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, or Google. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows. We have a Facebook group where everybody in the group will post what they're drinking, what they're listening to. A couple weeks ago, I was posting about drinking. I don't remember what I was drinking that night, but I know I was listening to Parker Barrow, and it was a fun night. So be sure to check them out and check us out on all the social media platforms. All right. Well, with all of that said, I can't thank Megan and Dylan enough for being such fantastic guests, and look forward to having them on again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
So, on behalf of them and Drew and myself, cheers, love, and free bird.
Free bird.
Night.
Night, everybody.